Without deep reflection, one knows from daily life that one exists for other people. In matters of truth and justice, there is no difference between large and small problems, for issues concerning the treatment of people are all the same. Gravitation is not responsible for people falling in love. We cannot despair of humanity, since we ourselves are human beings. Only one who devotes himself to a cause with his whole strength and soul can be a true master. For this reason, mastery demands all of a person. All religions, arts, and sciences are branches of the same tree. Do not worry about your difficulties in mathematics. I can assure you mine are still greater. I am not only a pacifist, but a militant pacifist. I am willing to fight for peace. Nothing will end war unless the people themselves refuse to go to war. Love is a better teacher than duty. The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science. We still do not know 1,000% of what nature has revealed to us. Heroism on command, senseless violence, and all the loathsome nonsense that goes by the name of patriotism. How passionately I hate them. I love to travel, but hate to arrive. We shall require a substantially new manner of thinking if mankind is to survive. Before God, we are all equally wise and equally foolish. When you are courting a nice girl, an hour seems like a second. When you sit on a red-hot cinder, a second seems like an hour. That's relativity. It is a miracle that curiosity survives formal education. Memory is deceptive because it is colored by today's events. You cannot simultaneously prevent and prepare for war. That deep emotional conviction of the presence of a superior reasoning power, which is revealed in the incomprehensible universe, forms my idea of God. The pursuit of truth and beauty is a sphere of activity in which we are permitted to remain children all our lives. An empty stomach is not a good political advisor. The high destiny of the individual is to serve rather than to rule. Concern for man and his fate must always form the chief interest of all technical endeavors. Never forget this in the midst of your diagrams and equations. Few are those who see with their own eyes and feel with their own hearts. Let every man be respected as an individual and no man idolized. Few people are capable of expressing with equanimity opinions which differ from the prejudices of their social environment. Most people are even incapable of forming such opinions. The process of scientific discovery is, in effect, a continual flight from wonder. He who joyfully marches to music in rank and file has already earned my contempt. He has been given a large brain by mistake, since for him the spinal cord would suffice. I want to know all God's thoughts. All the rest are just details. Our task must be to free ourselves by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature and its beauty. Put your hand on a hot stove for a minute, and it seems like an hour. Sit with a pretty girl for an hour, and it seems like a minute. I think and think for months and years. 99 times, the conclusion is false. 100th time, I am right. Force always attracts men of low morality. Most people say that it is the intellect which makes a great scientist. They are wrong. It is character. Whoever undertakes to set himself up as a judge of truth and knowledge is shipwrecked by the laughter of the gods. Politics is for the present, but an equation is for eternity. I want to go when I want. It is tasteless to prolong life artificially. I have done my share. It is time to go. I will do it elegantly. Information is not knowledge. I do not believe in immortality of the individual, and I consider ethics to be an exclusively human concern with no superhuman authority behind it. It should be possible to explain the laws of physics to a barmaid. Anyone who doesn't take truth seriously in small matters cannot be trusted in large ones either. In order to be an immaculate member of a flock of sheep, one must above all be a sheep oneself. You can never solve a problem on the level on which it was created. It is my conviction that killing under the cloak of war is nothing but an act of murder. Never lose a holy curiosity. The devil has put a penalty on all things we enjoy in life. Either we suffer in health, or we suffer in soul, or we get fat. I very rarely think in words at all. A thought comes, and I may try to express it in words afterwards. People love chopping wood. In this activity, one immediately sees results. Small is the number of people who see with their eyes and think with their minds. My religion consists of a humble admiration of the illimitable superior spirit who reveals himself in the slight details we are able to perceive with our frail and feeble mind. The road to perdition has ever been accompanied by lip service to an ideal. There is no logical way to the discovery of these elemental laws. There is only the way of intuition, which is helped by a feeling for the order lying behind the appearance. I cannot imagine a God who rewards and punishes the objects of his creation, and is but a reflection of human frailty. I do not believe in the God of theology who rewards good and punishes evil. Isn't it strange that I, who have written only unpopular books, should be such a popular fellow? Confusion of goals and perfection of means seems, in my opinion, to characterize our age. It gives me great pleasure indeed to see the stubbornness of an incorrigible nonconformist warmly acclaimed. True religion is real living, living with all one's soul, with all one's goodness and righteousness. Sometimes one pays most for the things one gets for nothing. I am a deeply religious non-believer. This is a somewhat new kind of religion. True art is characterized by an irresistible urge in the creative artist. The release of atomic energy has not created a new problem. It has merely made more urgent the necessity of solving an existing one. God does not play dice. It stands to the everlasting credit of science that by acting on the human mind it has overcome man's insecurity before himself and before nature. There could be no fairer destiny for any physical theory than that it should point the way to a more comprehensive theory in which it lives on as a limiting case. Too many of us look upon Americans as dollar chasers. This is a cruel libel, even if it is reiterated thoughtlessly by the Americans themselves. The faster you go, the shorter you are. Morality is of the highest importance, but for us, not for God. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge of what is does not open the door directly to what should be. The fear of death is the most unjustified of all fears, for there's no risk of accident for someone who's dead. There comes a time when the mind takes a higher plane of knowledge, but can never prove how it got there. God always takes the simplest way. The man of science is a poor philosopher, as far as the laws of mathematics refer to reality. They are not certain, and as far as they are certain, they do not refer to reality. The unleashed power of the atom has changed everything save our modes of thinking, and we thus drift toward unparalleled catastrophe. Human beings must have action, and they will make it if they cannot find it. The attempt to combine wisdom and power has only rarely been successful, and that only for a short while. The grand aim of all science is to cover the greatest number of empirical facts by logical deduction from the smallest number of hypotheses or axioms. God may be subtle, but he isn't plain mean. It was the experience of mystery, even if mixed with fear. To the master's honor, all must turn each in its track without a sound forever tracing Newton's ground. To the master's honor, all must turn each in its track without a sound forever tracing Newton's ground. I never think of the future. It comes soon enough. Nothing is more destructive of respect for the government and the law of the land than passing laws which cannot be enforced. Solitude is painful when one is young, but delightful when one is more mature. Of course, powerful muscles, but no personality. One may say The eternal mystery of the world is its comprehensibility. You ask me if I keep a notebook to record my great ideas. I've only ever had one. The most incomprehensible thing about the world is that it is comprehensible. If I were not a physicist, I would probably be a musician. I often think in music. I live my daydreams in music. I see my life in terms of music. Most of the fundamental ideas of science are essentially simple and may, as a rule, be expressed in a language comprehensible to everyone. I am enough of an artist to draw freely upon my imagination. All these primary impulses, not easily described in words, are the springs of man's actions.